narrated by An-Nu'man bin Bashir from Jamia Tirmizi, 2882, mentions a special blessing related to the last two verses of Surah Al-Baqarah, the second chapter of the Quran. Allah wrote a book containing these verses 2,000 years before creating the heavens and the earth. These two verses are considered to be very powerful and hold a great significance in Islamic teachings. The Hadith of Sahih Bukhari, 4008, narrated by Abu Masud al-Badr, highlights the importance and significance of reciting the last two verses of Surah Al-Baqarah from the Holy Quran. According to this hadith, the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, stated that reciting these two verses at night is sufficient for a believer. This explores why they hold such a special place in Islamic teachings. Surah Al-Baqarah is the second and longest chapter of the Quran, consisting of 286 verses covering various aspects of faith, guidance, and legislation. The last two verses, known as Ayat al-Kursi and the concluding verse of Surah Al-Baqarah, are revered for their profound meanings and blessings. Ayat al-Kursi, verse 255, emphasizes the oneness of Allah, His supreme authority, and knowledge. It describes Allah as the living, the sustainer of all existence, and the all-knowing. The concluding verse of Surah Al-Baqarah, verse 286, carries a message of supplication, seeking forgiveness, and seeking Allah's mercy. It acknowledges human limitations and the need for divine guidance and support. The verse highlights the concept of divine mercy and forgiveness, encouraging believers to seek Allah's forgiveness and guidance in their lives. The Prophet Muhammad's recommendation to recite these verses at night signifies the spiritual benefits and protection that come from engaging with the Quran during the quiet hours of the night. The tranquility of the night provides an ideal setting for reflection, prayer, and seeking closeness to Allah through recitation of His words. By reciting the last two verses of Surah Al-Baqarah, believers can seek spiritual nourishment, protection, and blessings for themselves and their families. The hadith states that if these two verses are recited in a home for 3 consecutive nights, it is believed that no Satan or evil spirit will come near that place. This indicates the protective and purifying nature of these verses and emphasizes the importance of reciting them regularly for spiritual benefits and protection from negative influences. In an age where scrolls were the primary medium of record, the last two verses of Surah Al-Baqarah stand out as a divine gift, uniquely bestowed upon Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and by extension, to you. These verses encapsulate guidance, mercy, and a profound promise from Allah, offering not just an insight into their miraculous revelation but also a pathway to spiritual enlightenment. Their significance transcends mere words, acting as a beacon for those navigating life's trials. Let's explore why these verses are often seen as a cornerstone of faith, and how they can illuminate your understanding of divine wisdom and mercy, prompting a deeper reflection on their place in your spiritual journey. To truly appreciate the significance of the last two verses of Surah Al-Baqarah, it's essential to delve into their historical context. You've got to understand that these verses aren't just another part of the Quran. They hold a special place, not just in the text, but in the heart of Islamic tradition. They're not just words. They're a direct link to a pivotal moment in the early days of Islam. Imagine being in a time when the Islamic community was just finding its footing. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and his followers faced immense challenges, from social ostracization to outright hostility. It was a time of uncertainty, of seeking guidance amidst turmoil. That's where these verses come in. They weren't revealed in a vacuum. They were sent down at a time when guidance was most needed, offering light in the darkness. The divine revelation moment of the last two verses of Surah Al-Baqarah marked a profound turning point, illuminating the path for the early Islamic community with guidance and wisdom. Imagine being in the presence of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, when these verses were revealed. It's a moment of deep spiritual significance, not just for those who witnessed it but for every Muslim who's since recited these verses. These verses weren't just words. They were a divine response to the Prophet's prayers, offering reassurance and support. You're reminded that Allah doesn't burden a soul beyond its capacity. It's a message of hope and mercy, urging you to seek forgiveness and trust in Allah's wisdom. Reciting these verses, you join a centuries-old tradition of seeking guidance and strength from them. They're not just part of your daily prayers, they're a source of comfort during times of hardship and uncertainty. You're connected to a larger story, one that's woven into the fabric of Islamic faith and spirituality. In essence, these verses encapsulate the essence of faith, trust, forgiveness, and a deep-seated belief in divine wisdom. They're a gift, offering light and guidance on your spiritual journey. Reflecting on the profound spiritual insights offered by the last 2 verses of Surah Al-Baqarah, a unique celestial event further underscores their significance. Imagine, if you will, a moment unlike any other in history. The heavens, often a silent and distant expanse, suddenly signal a divine occurrence. As you're pondering the depths of these verses, consider the sky above opening for the very first time to welcome a celestial being never before seen by human eyes. This isn't just any event, it's a moment that marks the verse's extraordinary status. This angel's descent isn't merely for spectacle. It brings with it a message that amplifies the value of these verses. You're not just engaging with words on a page, but with a divine promise, a recognition from the heavens themselves. This isn't about ordinary blessings but a celestial endorsement of the verse's unmatched worth. Now, as you reflect on this scene, understand that you're connecting with a part of your faith that's been touched by the divine in a unique way. This event doesn't just highlight the verse's importance, it invites you to experience their depth, knowing the heavens themselves have opened to emphasize their value. You've been granted a unique advantage through the special blessings of the last 2 verses of Surah Al-Baqarah, illuminating your path with divine wisdom and protection. These verses aren't just words, they're a shield against the trials of life and a source of immense mercy from your Creator. When you recite them, you're not merely uttering syllables, you're invoking Allah's promise to safeguard your faith and ease your burdens. Imagine carrying a light that never dims, a guide through your darkest times. That's what these verses offer. They're a reminder that, no matter how tough things get, you're not alone. Allah's wisdom and mercy are always within reach, encapsulated in these powerful words.